How's it going, everybody? Today we're starting a brand new series called The Shipyard. In this series, we're going to be going through the lore of Star Wars and exploring ships that are currently not yet released in the X-Wing miniatures game and ask the question, what are these ships going to look like when they arrive? Of course, everything here is speculation, nothing is official, and if we get something right, it was luck.
In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
For anybody who's not familiar, the TIE Brute made its debut during the movie Solo for a few seconds and also was featured in the graphic novel version of the movie Solo. Before we go on and start assigning values and stats to this ship, let's talk about what we do know from some of our sources. From what we know, it has triple the armor of a TIE fighter, it is half the speed of a Defender, and slower than a TIE bomber. It also comes equipped with a droid brain, but not an astromech slot. Lastly, the laser cannons equipped to the TIE Brute are the same ones that are equipped to the TIE Interceptor. As for the size of the ship, we know that it's slightly smaller than the TIE Bomber, meaning we're going to go ahead and assign it a small base. With the canon references telling us that it's half the speed of a Defender, but even slower than a bomber, it was kind of weird making a dial for this one, so we'll see how close we get if the ship's ever revealed. Let's go ahead and start talking about the maneuvers. I'm thinking it's going to have a 1, 2, and 3 straight, with the 1s and 2s being blue maneuvers. When it comes to the banks, I think it will have the 1s, 2s, and 3s, with only the 2 banks being blue. And when we get to the hard turns, I think it's going to have a hard 1, but it'll be red, and a white hard 2. That is it. And as for a turn around maneuver, I think it's only going to go ahead and get the 3K. I was kind of tempted to put the 1K similar to a B-Wing because the rotating gun on it, which I don't know if you guys know that, the gun on the TIE Brute actually rotates, which is going to go ahead and get into something we're going to talk about here in a second on the stat card. Kind of thinking it's B-Wing-esque. I decided because it is a TIE fighter, it's going to be probably a little bit faster than a B-Wing, but just barely. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some card speculation. So first, let's go ahead and talk about a ship ability, because I think this ship is going to require a ship ability. And I'm going to go ahead and call it the weapon turret. It's very similar to the heavy weapon turret that you see on the TIE SF. But like we said earlier, that the guns on the side of the TIE Brute actually rotate forward and back. And because of that, it's not able to shoot left or right. So we're going to go ahead and say that the weapon turret says you can rotate your turret indicator only to the front and the back arc. Next, let's go ahead and talk about actions. And I'll start to explain the reason why some of these are. So focus to rotate. Again, I'm taking some inspiration from the TIE SF that it can almost always rotate, except for sometimes. And I'll get to that in a second. So we have focus to rotate, target lock to rotate, barrel roll to calculate. Now you might be wondering, calculate? If you remember a little bit earlier, I talked about the fact that the ship actually has a droid brain in it. And in the canon references, it explains that that droid brain assists in the operation of the turret. So my thought here is, in a situation, if we're going off theme, right? In a situation where, you know, the pilot needs to do a barrel roll, right? So you think like the ship is rotating in the air. The pilot could assign the droid brain, you know, like a auto targeting computer. That was kind of the idea with a calculate token. I didn't want to give it a focus because focus is for people targets, right? Excuse me, for people who are, you know, focused in a battle, but calculate is for droids. And in that moment, thematically, you would be using the droid for targeting. And then you also had a white rotate action. I wanted to include that there just in case. I mean, it's kind of a weird situation. Why would you just want to rotate when you could focus rotate or target lock rotate? Who knows if some weird cards come out in the future that prevent a ship from doing a link action or something like that. I didn't want to lock out the ship from being able to rotate when, like, that's how its guns work. It works on a rotation basis. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the stats now. 3 attack dice. Like I said, the guns, those turret guns, are the same ones that are on the TIE Interceptor. And we talked about it rotating, thus giving it the turret arc. Again, it can only go in the front and back, and that is it. The fact that the ship is slower than a TIE bomber, we're gonna go ahead and give it a single agility. It's not very good at getting out of the way, and 9 hull. Yes, this is a thick boy. Pretty much the canon references very clearly state that it had 3 times the hull thickness of a regular TIE fighter. So in the game, TIE fighters have 3 hull times 3 equals 9. Now, it's only behind 1 agility, so that means it can get eaten away really fast. These things, if left alone to the end game, could give you some problems. Let's go ahead and start speculating on some pilots. In the graphic novel retelling of the movie Solo, we see a squadron of TIE brutes getting hunted down by some Z-95s. And the squadron in that engagement was the Onyx Squadron. So we're gonna go ahead and put a generic in there, the Onyx Squadron Veteran. I'm saying Initiative 3. The next pilot, we're gonna go ahead and start getting into some named pilots here, which I just realized I forgot to put the dots on, but it's okay. We can pretend. So here at Initiative 4, we got Leighton Dre, that's Onyx 2. Don't know much about the pilot, but they were Onyx 2. Here at Initiative 5, we have Ubel. Ubel was actually the Onyx leader in the engagement that we saw and was very upset with one of the cadets in the squadron who just would not listen. And also at Initiative 5, you guessed it, maybe, that is Han Solo. Onyx 9 in that engagement actually ends up saving Onyx 2 from the situation, and the squadron leader was like, "What are you doing, Han? You're breaking the formation and weakens us." And he's like, "But I saved people." Go ahead, check out the comic books. You know, Han Solo, he's still in training, still a cadet. He's a good pilot. He's not quite the best yet. This is still in his early days, so I didn't want to give him I-6. We're gonna go ahead and give him Initiative 5 there. So that has been my speculation on what I think the TIE Brute could look like if it reaches X-Wing. Put your opinions in the comments down below. What would you do differently? What would you change? What would you add? What would you take away? Also, go ahead and give suggestions for future ships we can go ahead and do in this segment. Thanks for watching. Gold Squadron